The Barnes dynasty had been wealthy for so long that even the oldest local newspapers didn't remember when the family first appeared in the city. People whispered that the Barnes fortune had started 3 generations ago with an oil discovery. But the current empire belonged to one man, Damien Barnes, a billionaire investor known for turning failing companies into industry giants. His businesses sprawled across real estate, tech, transportation, and luxury retail. Every glass building downtown seemed to carry the Barnes signature. But Damien was more than money. He was a man of order, discipline, and elegant perfection. And beside him stood his wife, Karina Barnes, graceful, charming, and impossibly observant. They had only one child, Davis Nichols Barnes, the polished heir everyone expected would take the empire farther than Damien ever had. Davis grew up in penthouses, private schools, and vacations on islands most people only read about. But beneath all the privilege, he was surprisingly grounded, quiet, thoughtful, and nothing like the loud, entitled, wealthy heirs who dominated gossip blogs. Damien often said, Davis was born with wealth, not arrogance. Meanwhile, far on the other side of the city, across bus routes, open markets and neighborhoods where everyone shared generators during blackouts, there lived a young woman named Elena Pope. Elena's childhood was stitched together with survival and small joys. She grew up in a small orphanage before being adopted by Evelyn Pope, a widowed seamstress who earned barely enough to feed them both. Evelyn was the kind of woman who would skip meals so Elena could eat, or lie about being hungry so Elena could have seconds. Their home was tiny but warm. Their fridge was never full, but their hearts were. Evelyn taught Elena resilience, gentleness, and pride in honest work. And even though they lived far from wealth, Elena grew into a calm, compassionate woman with dreams larger than her circumstances. She studied fashion design at the community college, worked part-time cleaning offices at night, and partnered with her best friend Avery Reavers to start a small online boutique selling women's suits. But nothing about her life suggested she would one day walk into the world of the Barnes family. Except fate. That unpredictable force had been writing their names beside each other long before they met. The first time Davis ever saw Elena, he wasn't looking for anyone. He wasn't even fully awake. It was a late morning, and he had stopped by a small cafe near the old textile market, far from his usual high-end spots, because he had overslept and missed breakfast. The cafe was tiny, cracked tiles, brown tables, and a humming refrigerator that needed retirement. Behind the counter stood Elena, wearing a simple apron and tying her hair into a messy bun. Davis walked in just as she dropped a stack of disposable cups, scattering them everywhere. "Oh no," she groaned, crouching down. Without thinking, he knelt to help her gather them. She looked up and froze. He froze too, not because he was a billionaire's son. She had no idea who he was. And not because she was the prettiest girl he'd ever seen, though she was breathtakingly pretty. It was her eyes, soft, sincere, tired, hopeful, eyes that told stories. "Thanks," she said awkwardly, when they both stood. "No problem," he replied. "What would you like to order?" He glanced at the menu board, a faded chalkboard with smudged handwriting. Everything on this list looks like it's fighting for its life. She burst out laughing, a real head-thrown-back laugh that made him smile like an idiot. "Well," she said, still laughing, "the pancakes are good, and the coffee is coffee." "I'll take both," he said. She served him with the warmest smile he'd ever seen in a place that looked like a 1980s relic. And for the next 3 weeks, he kept returning, not for coffee or pancakes, but for conversations that felt unlike anything in his wealthy bubble. She didn't flatter him. She didn't flirt for money. She didn't pretend to be impressed by his expensive watch. She treated him like a human being, not a billionaire's heir. It was the first time anyone had. Eventually he told her his real surname, Barnes. She blinked, processing it slowly. Barnes, as in Barnes Towers, Barnes Plaza, Barnes Holdings. He winced. Yes. She stared for a moment, then shrugged. "Well, coffee is still 600 naira." He loved her instantly. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. They began dating quietly. It wasn't flashy. No paparazzi. No designer gifts. Their romance was soft, playful, and private. Late-night calls, small cafe dates, walks in parks, laughing over instant noodles, crying together during stressful days, encouraging each other's dreams. Elena supported Davis through work challenges. Davis funded her boutique's first sewing machines, secretly, because he believed in her talent. They fit like two puzzle pieces from different boxes that somehow belonged together. Everything seemed perfect, until the day she returned. Karina Barnes had been abroad for 6 weeks, handling charity work and managing a property deal in Italy. She told Davis she would return sometime next week. But Karina was a strategist. She liked to observe people when they weren't expecting her, so she flew back early. She didn't tell Davis. She didn't tell Damien. She didn't tell security. She simply walked into the penthouse she owned. The first thing she saw were 2 coffee mugs, one pink, one black. Interesting. Then a pair of sneakers, not Davis's size. More interesting. Then she heard laughter. She followed the sound down the hallway. The bedroom door was partly open. Karina pushed it a little wider and froze. On the bed, she saw her son Davis, lying on his back, shirt half unbuttoned, laughing breathlessly. And on top of him, hair messy from tickling, both of them giggling, was Elena, kissing him playfully and trying to hold his wrists down. Karina's eyes widened. She had expected her son to be dating. She had expected romance eventually, but she had not expected to see him looking at a woman as if she were his entire world. The affection, the gentleness, the protectiveness, it was undeniable. And in that exact moment, the words formed in her mind. I never knew my billionaire son loved her this much until I saw them on the bed kissing. She stepped back quietly, gasping softly, hand over her chest. This wasn't casual. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't some rich boy fling. This was deep, real, and maybe permanent. Now she needed to know who this woman was, and what her intentions were. Karina cleared her throat loudly. The kiss stopped. The giggling stopped. The world stopped. Then Mom, and chaos exploded. The dining room felt like a courtroom. Karina sat straight-backed. Davis sat nervous. Elena sat like someone waiting for divine rescue. Karina asked questions like a lawyer. What does your family do? Where did you grow up? What does your business sell? How long have you two been together? Why didn't I know about you sooner? She wasn't rude, just sharply curious. Elena answered honestly. She grew up in an orphanage, adopted by Evelyn Pope, started a boutique with Avery Rivas, works very hard, loves Davis deeply. Karina listened. She observed. She analyzed. Her conclusion: this girl was genuine, not interested in their wealth, not impressed by luxury, not intimidated by power. Karina found herself smiling. And when dinner ended, Karina told Davis privately, "She is good for you." He exhaled. "Thank you, Mom." But she added, "I need to know she can handle our world." Little did she know, Elena would soon face exactly that test. The weeks following Davis's promotion felt like life had suddenly turned its speed to maximum. For the first time since they met, Elena and Davis began to feel the weight of two worlds pressing them from opposite sides. At work, Davis was adjusting to the new senior responsibilities. At work, Davis was adjusting to the new senior responsibilities. His office was larger, the expectations heavier, and the meetings longer. Every day came with surprise presentations, new teams to manage, overseas calls that stretched into midnight, and partners expecting him to be brilliant on command. He hid the exhaustion behind a calm smile, but the pressure gnawed at him. If this story made you smile, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still believes in love that started before the money. Drop a or in the comments if you're ready for more billionaire romance stories. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Elena's world was cracking at the edges. Her boutique's website crashed repeatedly. Their developer disappeared for hours at a time, and customers were losing patience. Orders were delayed. Refunds piled up. The business she had built with her best friend Avery began to feel like a spinning plate she couldn't keep steady. And then Evelyn, her adoptive mother, suddenly fell ill. Elena received the message at dawn. Evelyn collapsed. She was taken to the hospital. Her blood pressure was dangerously high. She wanted to run to her immediately, but the doctor said Evelyn needed a few days of monitoring first, and Elena didn't want to worry Davis while he was drowning in new responsibilities, so she kept quiet. She pretended nothing was wrong. She laughed when she needed to. She smiled when she didn't feel like it. She reassured Avery. She reassured herself. She tried to reassure Davis even when she felt small. Pressure makes people hide their weakest parts, and both of them were hiding too much. At the same time, Davis received an email that kept him awake for nights. A relocation request from the European headquarters. It wasn't immediate, but it was tempting. A huge leap in his career. A role that would put him at the top faster than he ever imagined. But it would also mean leaving Elena, leaving everything familiar to her, taking her away from Evelyn, taking her away from Avery, taking her away from her small business that was already struggling. Davis pushed the relocation email into a hidden folder on his laptop. He didn't tell her. He didn't want to break her heart. But secrets always brew tension. And that tension finally cracked something between them. It happened after a simple date night. They had gone out for dinner, but neither laughed freely. Their smiles were stiff, their eyes tired. They were together, but something invisible stood between them. Back at Elena's apartment, the air felt heavier than usual. She kicked off her shoes and sat on the couch. Davis loosened his tie and sat beside her. "You've been different," he said quietly. "You barely talk anymore. I feel like you're drifting." She blinked hard. "Me? Davis, you've been shutting me out. You always look distracted. You keep hiding your laptop when I enter. What am I supposed to think?" "That I'm stressed," he answered. "Not hiding something, but you are hiding something." She said, "I can feel it." Silence. Dangerous silence. His jaw tightened. "And you're hiding something too." Her breath caught. "What? You think I didn't notice the panic behind your eyes these past few days?" he asked softly. "Something is wrong with you. You're too quiet, too tense. You're pretending." Her throat tightened. "I didn't want to worry you." "Worry me about what?" he asked. That was when her strength gave way. "My mum collapsed," she whispered. "Evelyn, she's in the hospital. They don't know what triggered it." Davis's heart dropped. "What? Elena? Why didn't you tell me?" She swallowed. "Because you're under pressure. You just got promoted. You barely sleep. I didn't want to pile my problems on top of your stress." He stared at her in disbelief. "Elena," he said gently, "that's not how love works. You don't carry everything alone, so I can carry nothing." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I was afraid telling you would make me look like a burden." His heart cracked at that sentence. He pulled her closer. "You could never be a burden." She sobbed quietly against him, the kind of sob that comes only after holding in too much for too long. But when she finally lifted her face, she asked, "And you? What are you hiding?" He hesitated, for one heartbeat too long. She saw it. She felt it. Her chest tightened. "Tell me," she whispered. He exhaled slowly. "There's a relocation offer." Her eyes widened. "What kind of relocation?" "Europe," he said softly. "A big role, a bigger position. It's huge, Elena." She pulled her hands away. "So you're leaving?" "No," he said immediately. "I already told them I want to stay here." She blinked, stunned. "You already turned it down." He nodded. "You're here. Your mother is here. Your business is here. My future is here. With you." Her lips trembled. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because," he said, voice breaking a little, "I was afraid you'd feel guilty. I didn't want my sacrifice to feel like pressure on you." Her heart squeezed so painfully, she covered her mouth with her hand. Then something unexpected happened. They both started laughing, weak, exhausted laughter, because it was absurd. Both of them had been hiding out of fear of hurting the other. Both of them had been protecting each other the wrong way. Both of them had been scared of losing the other. Davis cupped her face. "No more secrets," he whispered. "No more silence," she whispered back. He kissed her, Slow, deep, comforting. The kind of kiss that seals a promise. A real one. The wedding morning arrived with sunlight glowing across the city. The hall was decorated in white and gold. The scent of fresh roses floated in the air, and guests whispered about how beautiful the couple looked. Elena stood before the mirror, breathtaking in her dress, a soft, elegant gown gently hugging her curves. Her adoptive mother, Evelyn Pope, walked beside her slowly. Though still recovering, Evelyn insisted on being here. "No daughter of mine will walk that aisle alone," she said. The music began. The doors opened. Everyone rose. Elena stepped forward, heart thundering in her chest. There was Davis at the altar, perfect suit, soft smile, eyes warm and full of love. Every step she took held her entire life. The girl who grew in an orphanage, daughter taken in by a seamstress, the woman who stitched hope out of nothing, the lover who fought through fear, the bride walking toward her future. Davis's vision blurred with emotion. She was his forever. She was almost close enough to touch when the back doors flung open. A wave of cold air rushed into the hall. The guests gasped. The officiant froze. Elena stopped walking. A single figure stood at the entrance, not dressed for a wedding, not smiling, not moving. In their trembling hand was a faded envelope. Their voice cracked as they spoke. "Elena Pope." Everyone turned. The figure's eyes filled. "I'm sorry, but I think I know who your real parents are." A full silence swallowed the hall. Evelyn grabbed Elena's arm. Davis stepped forward instinctively. Karina clutched her chest. The figure stepped closer. "This envelope belongs to you." Elena stared, breath stolen from her lungs. Everything went still. Everything stopped. Thank you for listening till the end. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another billionaire love story on this channel.